This is an ovary, and this is an ovary of someone with PCOS. In PCOS, the inflammation switch is turned on more often. Let me explain how vitamin D is part of the solution. In our cells, there is an inflammation switch called N-F-kappa-B. When it's on, inflammatory cytokines are released, creating inflammation. The switch is held in the off position by this protein. When the cell senses any danger, there is an enzyme that plays a role in destroying this protein, turning on the switch. This is where vitamin D comes in. Vitamin D enters the cell and becomes part of a vitamin D receptor complex that does two things. It binds to the enzyme, so the enzyme cannot destroy this protein and cannot turn on the switch. And it increases the gene responsible for making more of this protein to keep the switch off. Here's how it relates to PCOS. The inflammation switch is turned on more often in PCOS. When it's on, inflammatory cytokines are released that interfere with insulin's ability to bind to its receptor, leading to higher insulin and higher blood glucose. This is insulin resistance. This cycle of inflammation and insulin resistance starts to impact the ovaries. The theca cells in the follicle start to overproduce androgens, while the granulosa cells may be less efficient at converting those androgens into estradiol, preventing the follicle from growing large enough to ovulate. In the endometrial lining, we see inflammation being a factor at play for those trying to conceive. For implantation to occur, the endometrial lining requires a controlled inflammatory response, allowing the embryo to attach. For the embryo to remain attached, inflammation needs to be dialed down. This is where the vitamin D receptor complex comes in. It plays a contributing role to endometrial receptivity. Send this to someone who would like this visual.